So, welcome back to the Scary Door. Guys, I was watching a film recently. It was called Skinamarink. Have you guys heard about the film?
What a name.
Is that in the pantheon of those Blumhouse type horror films, or the A24? Okay, it's that kind of horror movie. Not a Bagul one. Okay.
No, it's like one of those like A24 horror films, but like one of those like more artistic ones, I guess. But it's a pretty good film. But something bugged me a lot in the film, right? So I'll spoilers, but essentially the film is this demon. He traps these two kids in a time loop, and then because he's a demon, like he like tells the kids like, stick a knife in your eye or some shit, and then he like possesses the older sister, and then like turns the house upside down and makes the whole place demonic and stuff. And then towards the end of the film, the kid is like crying, and he's like, "Can you please show me something happy?" And then the demon shows the kid himself, because the demon's happy because he's happy when he's torturing like humans. And I'm like, dude, so what? Like, demons just like get to do this to us? Like, what? Are you serious? He just gets to put people in a time loop and tell people, "Oh, you stick a knife in your eye," and like, what? There's like no repercussions for that. He just gets to do that for free.
It is a movie, so
okay,
I'm sure you're aware.
But you just know,
trying
like
to start
that.
like a movement right now, like no.
But you just know that this kind of thing has happened before, right? Like in the 1400s, like some demon probably like haunted this guy till he like jumped out a window or something. Like it's probably happened before, and it's like, dude, why do they get to do that? They just get free roam on Earth, and they just get to do that for free,
Apparently, yeah.
So I got really angry at that, and I'm like, you know what? No, there has to be some ways where you can torture demons, right? And I did some research.
Okay, not just not to cut you off, but there's a few things to get through there, and I'll be sparse here. You're talking about torturing them, not casting them out in the Catholic exorcist sense.
That's a really good distinction to make, because when I did my research, all I could find at the start was protection rituals and like how to ward off demons. And I'm like, no,
you want to go on offense?
I want to go offensive. Okay, it's time for them to fucking.
He's playing Dark Souls right now.
Yeah. I don't want some protection. I want to be the demon for demons, And I found some techniques.
You want to square up with Baphomet?
I found 3 techniques so far, and a secret fourth technique that I might let you guys in on at the end.
It's like an anime protagonist. Like, I'm going to show you my jutsu I've been training.
Are we going to do a demon training montage? Like in Rocky.
Well,
just
you're
gonna
get the steps to it. That's for sure. So.
Okay. So before you go into those steps, I just wanted to point out that's something that kind of bothers me too, and it destroys tension in horror movies, because in order to have proper tension, you need to have some sort of hope that they'll be able to get out of a situation, and you can either quash that hope to make the final capitulation, or you don't, and you're kind of stuck with a character where bad things are happening to them to the entire movie, and then it ends, which I don't think is, great for an enjoyable movie. But for instance, one of my favorite movies, you could put it as, let's say, anti-Catholic religious thriller, which, in some ways it is a little bit irreverent at parts of religion, is The Exorcism of Emily Rose. Just a great movie. It might have been a book before that, but she was surrounded by this priest, and the great question throughout the movie is, should she have been getting more medical help, or should she have been pressed further into religious help, because it seemed like they were solely focused on getting her religious help. She ultimately died. In the movie, it's inferred that it might have been through the demon, and it makes a somewhat believer out of a hotshot lawyer. But the frustrating part, Tyson, is that the demon could just do whatever it wanted. It could jump on in there, hop on out, say he was Satan, say he wasn't Satan, said he was 20 different types of demons, and then, oh, okay, well, I'm going to go now, and I'll be back. And eventually she's peeling off her fingernails and scratching at the walls and won't eat until she dies. And it's like, okay, I get it. That's bad that a demon's doing that, but there's nothing you can do about it. So where exactly is the tension? It's just someone getting tortured until they die. So thanks for the disclaimer. I probably won't see the movie you're talking about based on that, but maybe I'm missing something. So yeah, it just you need to get some sort of tension in there to kind of relieve the viewer when you're watching things like that. But yeah, we'll expand further. What we got here? How can we get back at these?
It's time for a dub for humanity, honestly. So, so the first method is using the lesser key of Solomon. It's a form of Solomonic magic.
What?
Are you encouraging our viewers to use Alistair Crowley's writings that were dictated to him by Egyptian gods?
It's sort of
brings him there in the first place. Go ahead.
It's sort of like a that term Pyrrhic victory.
Sure, a Pyrrhic victory. You might be saying it right. Yep.
Yeah, it's like, okay. So disclaimer: this method is going to involve the assistance of demons itself. Okay, but it's like, in my mind, it's like, okay, if I use a demon to harm another demon, I'm okay with that. Honestly,
is this Pokemon?
Like, that's fine. That's fine with me.
We are going through Pokemon right now. I like it though. No, keep going. Maybe Pokemon is a metaphor for this. Sorry, go ahead.
You know that comic of this guy like losing his bike, and then he's like, well, the net positive happiness increased because the guy who stole the bike was probably happier than I am to lose the bike.
I've seen that.
And it's like
classic.
That's the same with the demon. It's like, well, if I use this demon to harm this other demon, the net positive on the world is probably like increased, right? So
I know.
This is
hopefully
literally
they don't
the
team
plot
up.
of like a Final Fantasy game where they use summons against other summons.
Go ahead, Tyson.
Okay, but basically the Lesser Key of Solomon is a grimoire, which is short for magic text. It was written anonymously in the 1500s, and it was symbolically attributed to King Solomon of the Bible, who was allegedly supposed to have great control over demons and spirits. So in this book, there are 72 demons, each with their own seal and symbol, and these can be evoked or summoned individually. And the thing is, these demons usually give terms in exchange for their assistance. So if you summon a demon that specializes in like finding hidden treasure, he's gonna give you terms like, well, okay, I want something like your X percentage of your lifespan, or I want you to lose one person from your closest inner circle, or that sort of thing. And it's like, well, you can utilize this by saying, okay, you can summon a demon and okay, I want you to harm this other demon, and in exchange I'll give you that. So yeah, if you're prepared to pay the price, you can use this technique to harm this other demon.
I know you summon the demon, and he goes, "That's my cousin, man. Come on, I can't do that to my own homie."
I was reading a little bit about Solomon a few months ago, and in Islam they specifically talk about how God granted Solomon alone dominion over the jinn, which I guess
that's true.
would be kind of similar to the demon thing. And then there was also a grimoire type of thing down the line, which talked about how humans can interact with demons and all that, but God forbids people or everyone but Solomon to do that, or something like that.
So, go ahead, keep going.
No, yeah.
So when you said 72 or whatever number you said amount of demons, it clicked with me, Tyson. These are goetic demons. I don't think that's a term. It's called Goetia. And I remember looking into this years ago when I first started getting into the paranormal. So I'm glad you turned on that light bulb for me. But yeah, keep going.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it. It's sort of like a Pyrrhic victory, but if you really have it out for a demon, this is sort of like your last resort. You know, you can give like 30% of your lifespan to harm this other demon using another demon. So
Shinigami Eyes.
yeah, from Death Note. The second method is the more shamanistic route, so to speak. It's something called a destruction ritual. So, in the shamanistic practices, the word destruction doesn't always mean like evisceration. It doesn't mean like you're destroying something or like incinerating it. It means more like you're dismantling or removing a certain obstacle in your path. So, for example, you could cast a destruction ritual on for example, if you're writing a book and you have writer's block, you can cast a destruction ritual on the writer's block itself.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so one of the first steps is to actually align it astrologically with the object of intent in order to boost the power of the ritual. So I don't exactly know the specifics of how this works, but I suppose like if your object has like their sun or moon sign in like a specific zodiac sign, you would do it so that it aligns with that. So like the power of the ritual is like more in tune, I guess. But the second thing is that following that, you would start the real ritual, which is a candle ritual. You set out an array of candles with inscriptions, and one of them is supposed to signify the obstacle that you want to extinguish. And then, through a series of mantras and chants, you would attempt to extinguish that candle through like force alone. You know, it's not like you blow on the candle. You're supposed to like chant until that specific candle goes out. So the way that you can use this towards a demon is that you can program this so that the demon is the obstacle that you want to remove, you know?
I think for this one to work, you'd have to identify the demon that's haunting you, you know? You'd have to either know its name, its type. So, yeah, I mean, if it's really intruding on you. Yeah.
That's the cool thing. Let's say there's a demon where you don't know its name and you don't know its location. Those two unknowns are technically obstacles, right? So you can just do a destruction ritual for those ones in the first place. Like,
can you just like not think about the demon in your mind and like use that as a reference?
Well, yeah. I mean, like supposedly the demon is like in a real like physical location. So you can be like, I don't know the name. I want to destroy the obstacle that leads me to knowing his name, right? Then you know the name. Then you do another ritual like, okay, well, I want to know his specific location.
Where he at?
Then once you get to...
Find my iPhone for demons.
Drop your Addy.
Yeah.
So off the bat, what's the thoughts on this compared to the Solomonic magic?
So it kind of reminded me of so a while ago I was reading about like just black magic in general, and I went down this rabbit hole of like maybe some like Gnostic or shamanic practices, are like what other lines of faith would interpret as black magic. But I was talking about how like the nature of magic is that like the universe is kind of like a programming language, and if you learn the language, you're able to kind of like speak commands that like gods or like supposedly prophets would use. So it's kind of like you kind of hack your way into like admin privilege, and then you make shit happen, but you're not allowed to or supposed to do that. But like that's what black magic kind of is. Does that make sense? So like so this would explain, according to what I was reading, it would explain the nature of like miracles in Abrahamic faiths. Like for example, like, and I'm not saying I believe in this or anything, but like for example, like Christ bringing like he's putting life back into the dead. Like that was like him kind of, with the permission of God, like channeling this language into the universe and like letting it be. But, like black magic is like kind of like the inverse, you know what I mean? Like he had admin privileges, whereas these guys are like I don't know, script kiddies. Is that a good analogy?
You know, Tyson, what you're saying, the first one is a lot more appealing to me because there's a little bit of history there behind the Lesser Key of Solomon and European magic, Alistair Crowley. The second one sounds like a eat, pray, love, get in a circle and hold hands, wives' tale. Whatever's blocking you in life, whether it be the scary demon or, you know,
the scary door.
Derek responding to your text messages, say it in the circle and the candle will go out. So if I were down to business and I hate, there was a demon in my life and I hated him and I'd do anything to get rid of him, I'd go right for the real stuff. I'd get my hands dirty, and it's, people say, oh, when you mess with that stuff, it's dangerous. I already got a demon messing with me. I'll get a second one in there to beat his ass. I don't know what you want me to do about that. You know, you already got one messing with you. So, hey, the classic phrase, which I don't even know is true, but diamond sharpens diamonds. That's what you need to do. Demons sharpen demons.
What kills you
right?
makes you. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, right? So
Exactly. So yeah, I think that I'm willing to let the second one go.
The second one is sort of like
pull out the Mewtwo, and
the second one is sort of like the crystal lady technique, you know?
Yes, exactly. So for our new age shopper audience, that one's for you. Pick up your crystals, get in your little circle, you know, do what you got to do. So
that's great as like a business thing. I read somewhere some guy set up like an Etsy shop where he supposedly just like sells spells. And like he'd sent like, and like people would buy his spells off him for like $50. It'd be like, "I'll curse your ex" or something, and he'll like send him a picture of like an extinguished candle.
Hey, if it works, it works. One time I picked up a sphere. I don't know if it wasn't a crystal ball, but it was spherical and crystal-like. I picked it up at a shop. And ever since I got it, I started having bad luck, and so I got rid of it. I think once you open yourself up to something that isn't in your wheelhouse, it just doesn't. It doesn't attune. I think it changes directions of frequency. It doesn't automatically give you a good one, right? So it's more of a tool than a panacea. So, but all right, I like what we're working with here. Oh, something to add on about your first one with the Lesser Key of Solomon, Goetic Demons, obviously Alistair Crowley, which you said that you didn't know the author for it, and I had to think about it for a moment. I think Alistair Crowley claims that he transcribed the Lesser Key of Solomon through an Egyptian god. I'm not telling you he wrote it. You know, I'm just saying. Yeah, what did he do?
It's possible
like
he translated
it,
but it dates back to like the 1570s.
Okay. Yeah, no, that totally makes sense. But what I was leading to was, just to give some credence to what you're talking about, the guitarist for Led Zeppelin, and we could do an entirely different episode on it, because I think it's one of the most interesting untold stories. I don't want to get his name wrong, because I think Led Zeppelin is amazingly... is an underrated is a underrated classic rock band, even though I know how gigantically popular
Led Zeppelin?
they're talked about. Yeah,
Underrated.
I know. Yes, yeah, I still think they are to this day. They're just not talked about enough for how good they were at the time. They should be talked about more. But Jimmy Page, their guitarist, who's amazingly still alive. Actually, let me double check that. Yeah, he's still kicking, which is insane.
He won't be after I do this destruction ritual, so...
Well, he's got you beat, because he used to own a house along the river in England that Alistair Crowley did all his demon summoning rituals in.
Oh, so yeah, right about that. He bought Alistair Crowley's house.
Yes, and the time that he spent in there was terrifying. Like, once he came in, these demons were balling out of control. They're like, I cannot believe this guy let us loose in this house again. So they went all in for it, and I think it's a super interesting story. I'd love to get into what exactly happened in that house, but hey, maybe he was trying to summon demons to fight his own demons from his musician era. Who knows? Who knows?
It really
what
makes you think,
like the finish line.
It really makes you think, like, damn, what was Crowley like when he was doing all this stuff? Like, was he just chilling in like hell with some stuff? Like, I don't know.
I don't know, but apparently that house was where he did most of his dirty work. So
Is that the
it's
one
called
in Scotland?
Yeah, I wanted to say England, but it is Scotland, and it's called the Boleskine House. It's called the Boleskine House, and it's somewhere in Foyers, Scotland is where it is. So if anyone wants to look into that, super interesting story. But don't keep me in suspense, Tyson. What's part 3? Is there a third one?
Part 3, there is a part 3, and this one might actually intrigue Ari because it has a Middle Eastern origin.
Okay.
But it is a demon trap, so to speak. So, according to this method, there are some sigils or inscriptions that attract demons, and some that repel them, right? So, the idea behind a demon trap is that you inscribe a sigil on a physical or symbolic object, a sigil that you know is going to attract the demon that you want to harm, right? And you inscribe a command. With the sigil for the attracted demon, that once the demon comes to the object, which can be metaphysical as well. So this object could be physical or it could be a symbolic object. But you inscribe a command that attracts the demon. Once the demon comes and is attracted to it, you inscribe a command for the demon to inhabit the object. So, for example, if I inscribe a sigil on a teddy bear, once it attracts the demon, it's going to force the demon to inhabit that object. Right?
And then you can start poking it with needles.
And then part 2 is that, and you're supposed to discover this somehow, I'm not really sure, but each demon is linked to a word of power, and it's connected to their name, some sort. So you need to have either a word of power or the demon's name. And once you have the demon inhabiting the object, you use the word of power or their name to effectively trap them within the object. And the key thing is that the effectiveness of the trap is linked to the person's willpower and level of intent. So if you're not about that life, you're not going to do it successfully. And then once you're done, it should theoretically be safe enough to where like the demon will never come out. So you can just dispose it in like a landfill or something like that.
Could you like weaponize this? So for example, I'm thinking like if there's like I'm stealing this straight from Zelda, but if there's like a mask and you seal a demon inside it, can you then like wear the mask and go around fighting people?
The demon would just destroy you.
But you can take the mask off, right?
Well, I mean, what's the...
We're trying to torture them. We're not trying to go to Halloween parties with them.
Sure.
So,
but is it possible to like kill them through this? Then does it talk about that or?
Well, you're sealing them away in like their own prison, effectively, right?
So you're damning them to like your own version of hell. That's kind of sick.
Pretty cool, yeah.
Is this? Is this? You say is this Arabic, Muslim, Zoroastrian, Hindu? What's? Where did this sigil? Is this some ancient practice in like tribal Middle Eastern areas, but before the advent of some more modern Abrahamic religions? Or
I could be wrong, but I read that it comes from ancient Persia.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
Yeah, it could be that. That's interesting. That's that ancient stuff. You don't want to mess around with that. You don't want to.
For sure.
Yeah.
So how does this rank amongst the other two?
It's definitely better than the second one, but it's also. You know what? When you start saying sigils and knowing what you're doing, it's probably more effective than 1, the Lesser Key of Solomon, but it seems like there's a higher barrier to entry.
Yeah, I don't really know how you would find the demon's name in the first place. That's pretty hard.
I think the first one, yeah, right. But also, the first one is kind of the gunslinger method that I want to use. I don't know what I'm messing with. I just go, hey, come on, come get him, go do your thing, and then just let it rip. And whatever happens after that, maybe I'll die, maybe I'll grow a second head. I don't know, something like that.
How do you dox a demon?
There you go.
Maybe you take like a Ouija board and get another demon to like rat them out.
Or you can do a destruction ritual to tell you the name of the demon.
Okay. It's a multi-layered demon torture.
I'm sorry, I'm not in with the demon game theory combat here. There's only gotta be if he's really messing with you, I feel like you should be able to reach him pretty easily through one of these rituals. Absolutely.
But the key thing is my take on it is like the key distinction is that this one doesn't really have a drawback. I mean, like, unless you fail, of course, and the demon like possesses you, but that's the same with everything else. But the first one, the Solomon one, you have to pay for it. You know, this one you don't really have to pay for it at all.
I had a question.
Subscription.
So with the Key of Solomon or whatever, I presume that like there's some level of like protection from like God or something, given that Solomon's a holy figure. But with the others,
it's not from Solomon. It's just symbolically attributed to Solomon.
Okay, but even so, I mean, with the other one, I was thinking like, what if you pull up on a demon and I don't know, you lock him away. And then, like, the whole demon hood, like, pulls up. And, like,
I don't
now
think that's
you're
how
faced
demons
with, like,
work.
do you not think demons are
So
friends?
what, like, you lock, like, one demon, then his whole family's gonna come after you? I don't think that's how that...
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. Okay, so...
Isn't it, like,
so
you don't mess with them, because, like, you're gonna be stuck with that forever.
So what's even the
like,
point of exorcism, then? Because, you exorcise one demon, his whole family's gonna come back and possess the same person? Like...
No, but exorcism's like that's like in a kind of good way, like it's like the help of God and stuff. But here, you're like you're going in like alone, you know.
I think I kind of am with Tyson on this one because, listen, the Christian practices that you have to combat demons are mostly defensive and about driving them out. That's not what Tyson wants. Tyson wants to return the favor. That's what he wants to do. And you know what? You have to get outside the canon of common scripture and get your hands a little bit dirty and probably do some things that don't involve holy water or a cross, right?
This is some sicko mode stuff.
Yeah, this is off the beaten path. Especially since, kind of going back to the beginning, I don't think there is official accepted scripture on Solomon's interaction with demons. I mean, he's
really?
Yeah, he's regarded as the wisest man of all time, and that's shown in the Bible, but I don't think there's many. I mean, there's entire scriptures kind of like, what's the other one that's a big deal that's not quite in the Bible and people wish it was? Not Ezekiel, that one's in there.
The Book of Enoch?
Yes, exactly. It's
and
kind
of like
Mormon
that as well, right?
Yeah, that's in that too. So, all right, do you have time for a bonus round, Tyson?
I do.
Actually, you know
I
what?
do.
Wait. Oh yeah, no. Go ahead.
So this fourth secret method, I mean, I'll be honest, it's not really like that much of a method. I don't think it's physically possible for anyone to pull off. And also, it was revealed to me in a dream I had.
That's amazing.
And also, it's also half sort of like a power fantasy that I had in the dream as well. So,
this is also how Alistair Crowley wrote that he got transcribed by a spirit. So maybe your dream was a spiritual transcription. So there you go. What is it? What happened?
So it's best if I tell it in the form of a story. Okay, but
a riddle.
But basically, it's just a power fantasy against a demon. But there were some really specific things that happened that I think if you could somehow replicate, it would be sick. And it would would destroy any demon that encounters it. So.
His ultimate move.
Yeah.
So, the dream starts out with me working as a bodyguard at a boxing match, and somehow the other like security guard is like Mike Tyson for some reason. But like we're both security guards for this boxer that's coming up for his match, and he's like the superstar boxer, right? And we're in the locker room, and he's about to fight. He's going up. He's walking out in like 2 minutes, and he requested for this priest to be there to give him some advice before the fight. And me and Mike were just chilling there, waiting to walk him out. And then this priest, he comes up and gives this guy like the worst advice of all time. And I'm like, so he like tells the fighter like, so like this guy, he's obviously like an earnest person, but he told him like, you have to see the other person as enemy, as like subhuman. You have to be ready to die, no fear at all. Like just like really weird advice. And then the guy like walks out, and you can tell like he was disturbed by this advice. And then he loses the match, and we're like, okay, well that's not really helpful from the priest, right? But all the staff and the priest afterwards went to decided to go to a bar. And there was a bar close by called Escobar. And on the way there, it starts snowing really heavily. And by the time we get to the bar, it's nearly like an all-white blizzard, right? And something happens at this bar that like reveals the priest's true identity. Where I think like his face, like we were on a table like playing cards, and then for like a split second, the priest's face was like blurry, and we're like, whoa, how was that physically possible? And then everyone like started eyeing out the priest, and he was forced to reveal himself as a demon. That's where shit starts to get real. So at that point, I don't know how I did this, but I acquired the favor of God. And then me and this demon start going at it, right? So I'm swagging out, like I'm throwing hands, right? And then towards the end of the fight, I call upon a falling star, right? And then I direct the star to hit this demon directly in the stomach. And the act of doing this, it creates a seal called the Dawn Star seal.
Oh, come on.
Okay. Okay, and there's a key point there.
What a legend, dude.
So after the Dawn Star seal appears, I'm given the choice of like, okay, do I want to seal this demon for eternity? Like just remove it, but nothing bad will happen to the demon. It's just going to be removed from our physical reality. And I'm about to do it. I'm about to seal it away with the Dawn Star seal, and I'm like, you know what? Nah, man, this guy needs to get more pain. He needs to suffer more. So I rip off the Dawn Star seal, and I transform it into this like cylindrical tower with like thousands and thousands of rooms, right? So I trap the demon in the center of this tower, and in each room there's like a library of all these scriptures, and I fill each room with one angel. And the angel was like reading scripture out loud. And so imagine like a cylindrical tower, like thousands of stories tall, with thousands of rooms, 25,000 rooms, each with like an angel. And in the center of it, it's like a demon. He's like screaming and crying like, no, stop reading the scripture. And I'm like, oh, so what's up now, bitch? So what? Why aren't you smiling? Why aren't you entertained? Is this painful for you? Huh? Maybe you shouldn't have like put people in a time loop, little bitch. So this demon is just like stuck there, and I'm that's pretty much it. He's just being tortured forever, and I really enjoyed that. So
so it sounds like just holding a demon still in a prism suspension and reading them scriptures is a great form of torture. then, according to your dream, which is
but
just
I
as
had
valid as some
25,000
of these
angels.
other techniques. Yeah, but you can give or take that, But what was it called? The Dawn Star Seal?
Yeah.
That's good. That's good.
I like it a lot. A lot. So that's good stuff. Yeah, all of this talk and kind of what you said at the beginning reminded me of this movie that came out years ago called An American Haunting. I mean, soon it's going to be 20 years old, but it was about the story of the first recorded death caused by a ghost or demon in American history, or world history, supposedly, if it were real. And I thought it was kind of stupid because once demons and ghosts can kill you, that's it just what are you supposed to do about that, right? You know, and this was in a heavily religious family too. So, it got to get back at him. Got to get back at him somehow,
Yeah. So now they've heard all three plus the secret fourth one. What stands out to you as the best technique, guys?
Well, I'll spin it back. You've listed all of them. What are you the biggest fan of? Do you have conviction in your own dream, or do you think there's more a historical precedent for your first three there?
You know what? I don't think I'll be gaining the favor of God that much anytime soon, so I'm gonna have to rely on method 1 and 3. The Solomonic one, it sort of seems like if I'm fed up and I just don't want to do any more research, I'm like, no, it's time to swang and bang with this demon. Let's go. But if I had the persistence to do some research, maybe find a demon's name, I think the demon trap's a pretty good method. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think there's something Faustian about making a bargain with another demon to hunt down an existing one. So I'd probably have to do my homework and go for the old school Persian sigil kind of transmutation into a physical object way of dispelling and torture demons. Absolutely. So yeah, I think after hearing all of them. Again, if I'm left with nothing and it's not working, I'll just say I call the Dawn Star Seal to put you away. And then there we go. So that's when I'll know I'm officially out of ideas. So I'll go with 3, the sigils. We'll stick with that.
What about you, Ari?
I like 3 too, but you guys are probably going to call me cringe for this, but if we just kind of rub away all the new age stuff, I kind of like number 2 as well, just for the sole fact that having the stars align, it's kind of cool to me. You think about how a demon's gonna be more powerful than you, right?
Well,
so
don't forget that Tyson's dream had a Dawn Star Seal in it. The stars aligning.
True. I kind of see it like a kind of Batman approach. I'm gonna be I'm gonna wait for the right moment. I'm gonna be bam. And then maybe you could pair that with the sigil as well, and you got the
we
double.
call it a new age crystal stuff, but it is a shamanistic thing, and it's not really that new age. From what I've read, the destruction ritual's been a thing for hundreds and hundreds of years, so it's not
right.
a recent thing. There probably is loads of history to it as well.
Just like astrology and modern day witchcraft, it's the definitions have been kind of what's the word? Fortune cookie rituals, not rituals, but just fortune cookies in general. I feel like that kind of thing has been applied to all these ancient practices, and that's why they have such a
they've been calcified and dumbed down for modern consumption, when there's probably a lot to everything that we do has some sort of ancient custom attached to it in a lot of ways, and you wouldn't even know it. But
it's kind of funny in a way, because the types of people that are into that today, for the most part, are actually the most unconscious people you could possibly ever
that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah, just gotta put a disclaimer: be careful what you're messing with. But sure. It is what it is. So Tyson, I appreciate you bringing this to us. Now, next time I encounter one, I'll be ready to roll. I'll be ready to roll.
You got your Dawn Star locked and loaded?
Oh, yeah.
Well, Tyson, I did appreciate all of that, so I'll be well equipped for my next journey, and I'll be sure to have on myself the, what is it, the star seal?
The Dawn Star Seal.
I'll have the Dawn Star seal next time I'm seeing what's behind the scary door.